welcome to the wildest trivia show this side of fucking tattooing. TankTop Trivia. I'm your host, GJ Stoutimore.
Do not take me back to tattooing. I refuse to go. I refuse.
We're going back to Jakku, Sean. We're diving into the most bizarre and tangential Star Wars lore you've never known. So now, let me tell you, folks, if this is your first time, and it will be, this is our pilot episode. This is not your typical trivia show, okay? Oh, no. Every Tuesday on TankTop Trivia, I get to bombard our one unlucky guest, a man known for many things, but none of them, absolutely none of them, include a strict adherence to fine detail with questions that could make even Master Yoda scratch his head in confusion. Now, listen, there's nothing more sickly satisfying to me than to disrupt and annoy this man that you're looking at right now, who is hilarious. He's hilarious even when he's only mildly excited, never mind when he's a little agitated. And there are few things, to me, funnier than when our guest here is poked with a stick that's made out of overt attention to superfluous fine detail. This show is that stick. I hold that stick. And now I have the might of Star Wars trivia behind me and enabling the torture of this man. Listen, without any further ado, let's meet our recurring guest, the man behind the game show title, a famous figure for his his Game of Thrones bar reactions. He's bombastic, he's thoughtful. His commentary tracks on various IPs like Avatar, Arcane, Blue Eye Samurai, Hot D, and other anime shows. The one, the only, my friend and your favorite YouTuber, SeanTankTop. Welcome to the show, Sean.
I'm going to echo the sentiment of Sam Elliott from when he was on the set of Big Lebowski.
I tell you what, fellas, I'm very happy to be here, but I don't rightly know what I'm doing here.
Sean, here's the question. How much do you think you know Star Wars? Are you a fan of the lore? I mean, and I'm talking deep-seated, gatekeeper empowering, the kind of, I learned this off the back of a toy I picked up at a thrift store just off I-4 between Kissimmee and Celebration in the middle of a hot Florida summer in '94.
Right. Well, I tell you what, I think I think I'm a bit ambidextrous as far as because I do enjoy some of that stuff, and I've dipped my toes in some of that stuff, and I have experience with that stuff. There's two paths, it seems like, with like some of these
you become extreme gatekeeper or sort of relative casual. We're going to see exactly where you land. Are you ready to dive headfirst into the strange and wonderful world of TankTop Trivia? SeanTankTop, you ready?
I'm with it.
The category today, Sean, is behind the scenes. Now, we define this as interesting factoids about things that happened or choices George Lucas made that informed the way we ended up seeing the original 6 films. We're talking about the original trilogy and prequels only.
Right.
That's our category today. Question 1. In Revenge of the Sith, Chancellor Palpatine's fight with Mace Windu was originally extensively choreographed. The vast majority was reblocked on the day of shooting because of this George Lucas decision. Was it A, Ian McDiarmid sustained a minor injury, B, concerns about runtime of the film and therefore it needed to be reduced, C, an insistence on no body doubles being used, or D, concerns about Mace Windu's aggressive fighting style?
I think these are all pretty fair, and these are well put together as far as, because these are all pretty could absolutely be scenarios, but I'm gonna go, for some reason, at the 11th hour, our boy George, our simple boy George, he was just like, I don't want to have any body double type of material.
So C, insistence on no body doubles being used. Are you sure?
Yes, because there's no other explanation other than when he turns into a CGI monstrosity that, like, they would abide such a terribly choreographed fight. 55, 60-year-old bag of shit old man, which is what about the age that Ian McDiarmid was at when he was shooting that stuff. So I would say
So that's your final answer.
That's
C.
I'm going fine. Lock me in. Sean's pick of the week. Fucking
okay. Well, Sean, Obi-Wan Kenobi once said, in his experience, there was no such thing as luck. Excuse me. He also lost his apprentice, the chosen one, to the dark side. Fuck Obi-Wan. Your answer is correct. Egg on my face. Well played. We're going to cut away to some lore to explain this a little bit more. So funny enough, the changing fight choreography wasn't the only change made to the confrontation between Mace Windu and the Chancellor. The Jedi who came with Mace, including some fan favorites like Kit Fisto, were originally much more formidable than they ended up being in the final cut. Ultimately, the duel climaxes into an important one-on-one showdown between Mace and Palpy in black, and it featured prequel-era impressive choreography. However, George's concerns about using body doubles scrapped those plans, leaving Ian McDiarmid with a very limited amount of time to learn a new demanding sequence. Another change is the arrival of Anakin Skywalker on the scene, who's present from the onset of the confrontation in earlier versions.
Regarding the lost choreography though, you can still find test footage for it online. It's everywhere and it's pretty cool to watch. One has to wonder if, given the numerous lightsaber duels happening in the film, maybe George was happier leaning into his goals for CGI technical achievement, something we'd see in the Sidious Yoda fight, rather than another lengthy blocking sequence with actors. Regardless, the lost Mace Windu and Chancellor Palpatine fight remains one of Star Wars' most juicy what-ifs.
Well, isn't that interesting, Sean? Blind Squirrel has found a nut. You got lucky. But congratulations, you answered the first question correct.
In 1999, when the scroll started to cascade down that gigantic screen, it's all downhill from here, folks.
Well, let's get on to question 2 here.
For sure.
Before the original Star Wars movie was fully scripted, George Lucas characterized Luke in his story synopsis in the following way.
Ooh.
A, as Princess Leia's relentless general. B, as Luke's Starkiller. C, a retired freighter pilot, excuse me. Or D, B and C. So it'd be Luke Starkiller and a retired freighter pilot.
Ooh, interesting. Ooh, that's a good one. I mean, his original name was Starkiller. Like I know that. And I know I also
I want to pause you real quick.
Please.
And I want you to pay attention. I know you don't have it in front of you, so I'm going to say it again.
Okay.
The wording of the question, before the original Star Wars movie was fully scripted.
Okay. Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll give you the options again. A, Princess Leia's relentless general. B, Luke Starkiller. C, a retired freighter pilot. Or D, B and C.
I'm just going to go with just B, Luke Starkiller. There were some wild variations of those characterizations when you look at some of those like original treatments that were fucking nuts. And so but I'm going to be conservative and I'm going to just go Luke Starkiller.
B, Luke Starkiller.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Sean,
feel confident on it.
That's your final answer. Okay.
Lock it in.
Well, Sean, you tried. But that answer was as wrong as Jar Jar Binks in the Galactic Senate or being promoted in the field as Bomb Bad General. The answer is A, Princess Leia's relentless general.
Really?
In the original outlines, he was called Luke Skywalker. He was older. Then he moved Luke Skywalker into Starkiller when the script started being written. And then he brought him back to Luke Skywalker. And many iterations later, the character we have today. We're going to cut to some lore to talk about this right now.
People seem to love to debate Luke Skywalker, but one thing that's not up for debate, the character has undergone a lot of evolution in every stage of the character's existence. Early depictions of Luke Skywalker are tied to earliest concepts for Star Wars, which were pretty much beat-for-beat recreations of Kurosawa's work. We're talking about Civil War, a princess, retainers guarding a family treasure. These first depict Luke very similarly to how Rian Johnson would eventually write him for The Last Jedi as a battle-weary general. Now, there are some differences, but I digress. Other early iterations of the character played around with the idea of a female lead protagonist, and I wonder how that would have gone down with some people in the fandom today. Ultimately, the influence of Joseph Campbell really informed George Lucas's imagination, and he hammered out a character who did indeed carry the Starkiller name for a while in early drafts, would end up being a wide-eyed farm boy undergoing the hero's journey. Now, what we end up with is an iconic character, but it's interesting to know how very different Luke Skywalker might have been.
Well, Sean, that's the story behind it. Up close, you were close, but no cigar on that one. It was tough. I'll give you some
How
credit.
about a fucking half cigar, dude? I mean, because I wasn't necessarily
half cigars are it's a sin to smoke.
Technically
half a cigar.
not. Technically not wrong, but I think what you're talking about is first like where it ends up on the timeline.
In the spirit of that, let's get on to the next question, our third question. We have 2 left, so you're 1 out of 2. That's not bad, Sean. 50%.
No. Yeah.
Question 3. The release of George Lucas's annotated screenplays in 1997 revealed that the choice to make Luke and Leia siblings was made at this following moment in time for this accompanying reason. So listen well here. Okay. A is finishing the Empire Strikes Back reshoots to make a clear path for Leia's romance with Han Solo in the finale. B, writing the outline for Return of the Jedi to make a clear path for Leia's romance with Han Solo. So a little variation on the first one.
Okay, cool.
C is writing the Darth Vader-Luke confrontation in Return of the Jedi to justify Luke's near fall to the dark side. Or D, early drafts of Revenge of the Jedi to justify Luke's turn toward Jedi monasticism.
Ooh, okay. They were all on the table. I like the inclusion of the revenge of the Jedi. Like I like that we're keeping with that because that was like its original title. I think that I don't know if they would necessarily worry about like whether or not like Luke fucks like or whatever. So maybe like that takes D off the table. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like they never really mentioned it and shit. Yeah, but even still, like I mean, you know, he's probably getting like a half a chub while he was fucking swinging off that fucking sail barge with her.
Do you want your options again in full? Or
let's have it. Yeah, let's have it. Because I know I'm not going D, but I want to hear the other ones again. Real quick.
All right. So again, the question was,
watch that be the fucking right answer too. By the way,
the annotated screenplays in '97 revealed that the choice to make Luke and Leia siblings was made at this moment in time for this accompanying reason.
Yeah.
A, finishing Empire Strikes Back reshoots to make a clear path for Leia's romance with Han Solo in the finale. So apparently, just to remove the tension between Luke or Leia, or Luke or Han.
Sure.
B, writing the outline for Return of the Jedi to make a clear path for Leia's romance with Han Solo.
Right.
C, writing the Luke Vader confrontation in Return of the Jedi to justify Luke's near fall to the dark side. Or D, the monasticism. Revenge of the Jedi.
I mean, it's good. It's good either way. I'm gonna go B, where it's the outline for Return of the Jedi, simply because they have her planting like a giant fucking smooch and him feeling really cool and being like, he does that thing where he just puts his hands behind his back and he kind of looks up. He's like, cool, I'm gonna fucking jerk off to this later.
Should we go?
Exactly. Yeah, it's gonna be totally. But yeah,
your answer, just to reaffirm, I got it right, is B. Writing the outline for Return of the Jedi to make a clear path for Leia's romance.
I do not. Right,
that's what we're locking in.
Right. I mean, mostly just because it just sort of makes it. Even though the fucking the whole deal with him, like spurring him into a almost a damn near murderous rage. You know, that's good. It's good juicy shit. But But were they that? They didn't seem that worried about the real. It's one of those two. But I'm just gonna lock it in for B. I'm gonna lock it in for.
Lock it in for B. Okay.
Yeah,
let's see here.
Let's do it.
Solid answer, Sean, but you're about as on track as with this as Luke Skywalker is attracted to women. Absolutely not. You are wrong. And the correct answer is C. You deliberated over it, writing the Luke Vader confrontation.
I was like,
yeah, because he had written it, and George Lucas asked himself, what could push Luke Skywalker to this kind of edge? And we're going to cut over to some lore that's going to explain a little bit more right now.
Now, in Return of the Jedi, Lucas knew he wanted Luke to brush the dark side in his final confrontation with Darth Vader and with the Emperor. He comes to the brink of losing himself, hence the payoff when he throws away his lightsaber, but what would drive Luke to this point? He's already lost friends in battle, he's already fought with his father once before, Leia's not much of a romantic prospect for him after Empire with Han Solo laying the Mac down. That ship has sailed. This masterstroke by Lucas retcons any possibility of a love triangle between Han, Luke, and Leia, and sets up the emotional stakes that could push Luke toward the dark side, the corruption of his twin sister. This more than justifies Luke hacking at Vader like a madman, his revelation that if he continues to give in to his anger, then he will become his father, and his ultimate decision to throw away his weapon, proving once and for all that he is indeed a Jedi.
Now I see what you're saying. This is starting to piss me off. Like,
yeah. I want you to Sean close again. No cigar. How do you feel after that one?
I mean, like, listen, the fact that I was kind of dancing around it makes sense, and I just suppose something as thematically rich wasn't capable of being written by George Lucas.
In the words of Yoda, Sean, do or do not, there is no try. You were wrong. No consolation points. Let's go over to question 4. In episode 1, a deleted scene shows young Anakin Skywalker fighting with this minor character. Is it A, Kitster? Is it B, Watto? Is it C, Zero? Or is it D, Greedo?
It's Greedo. Lock it in. It's Greedo. I know that it is.
Well, Sean, you know that quirk in the original Star Wars movie where the stormtrooper bumps his head by accident? And
Sure.
He keeps kind of running anyway.
Did I get it right by accident? I got it right.
You, my friend, are that stormtrooper. Persistence pays off. You are correct. Well done. 2 out of 4 is not too bad.
No,
it's failing.
Right.
It's 50%, so failing grade.
No, yeah.
But,
no, I'm not. I ain't going to. I'm having to go back to. I'm getting held back a grade for sure. I know that.
Hey, back again, huh?
What I love about this deleted scene is that Anakin basically attacks and pounds the shit out of this doomed-to-be-shot First Herodian, and when Qui-Gon comes to break up the fight and straight up asks Greedo if he genuinely thinks Anakin cheated, Baby Blasterbait just goes, yup. No major red flags from Qui-Gon here concerning how this kid he wants to train as a Jedi basically snapped at the first sign of criticism from some random on the street, I guess. Huh. In the end, it's easy to see why the scene was cut. It doesn't really advance the story or do anything other than make us question the good judgment of our protagonists, all for the sake of a cheap tie-in, but it is sort of fun to think about and a nice bit of behind-the-scenes stuff that I really love digging into.
Dig through some of that stuff as far as like what they considered or what they cut or whatever it is. If it's like, if it has to do with any single shred of interconnectivity possible, if there's even a fucking fart's fucking chance in a rainstorm, like they were thinking about or did indeed do it until
It is
somebody,
pretty wild that it was Greedo. Like
literally
I remember
Greedo,
watching
like,
it, and
you know what I mean?
Qui-Gon
Like,
comes and brought
where he like literally fought with Greedo, and he literally
and they're like,
told
"You're
him,
gonna get fried if you continue that way,
right?
Greedo."
It's like, no, right? Yeah, it's like literally like remember to duck, and like also, and then literally built C3PO, even though he didn't recognize him when he fucking saw him.
Listen, folks, that is all the time we have. We're out of time for this episode of TankTop Trivia. Thank you for joining us on this wild ride through the galaxy far, far away. Remember, we'll be back every Tuesday with more unhinged installments of the most extra Star Wars trivia you've ever seen. Until then, goodbye, good night, and don't let the rabid porgs bite. May the force be with you. Sean, say goodbye.
Fuck you all, and fuck you, Gabe.
Goodbye.